Quarterback Cade Klubnik continues to deal with disrespect in QB rankings. Sporting News has him ranked as the 25th on their top 25. I'm going to discuss it next on the Locked On Clemson podcast.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Clemson family? Welcome back to the Locked On Clemson podcast, your daily podcast covering your Clemson Tiger football team, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find me on Twitter at DP_NFL. I'm a national scout with the Draft Network, as well as a co-host of the Locked On NFL Draft podcast. So, guys, happy Monday, and I appreciate y'all for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every day. You know what I tell you, you're not only family, but you're my everydayers, and I appreciate that. All the love and support, all the new subscriptions on YouTube, all of it. I appreciate you guys. We got a nice show, good show. I put together summer's groove. We're already into the summer. And if you live in South Carolina, you know that it's hot. So to talk about hot, the disrespect that Cade Klubnik is continually to receive from these different outlets, man. We're gonna get into that. Dabo Swinney taking some time off and going to the safari. And going to spend some time and get himself prepared for the season, right? As well as the number one linebacker in the 2024 class is in sight. We're going to talk about that on the prowl. But let's get into it, man. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. With Cade Klubnik, Sporting News put out a article. Their rankings for the position in the quarterback position, right? And one of the things that stood out was the fact that they first of all had Clemson as the fourth, I believe. If I remember, let me make sure I'm looking at my notes here. They had Clemson as the fourth best QB group in the entire ACC. So Bill Bender over from SportingNews.com did his top 25 quarterback rankings. Now, I can go through the list, but as I told you, top 25. The last guy on the list is Cade Klubnik, who is the quarterback for these Clemson Tigers. And you know, you had some viable candidates who are in front of him, but I'm gonna take some issues with a couple other spots here that just did not make a lot of sense to me. I'm going through this list here, right, guys, and what I'm looking for is those guys who didn't play much at all, right? Because Cade didn't play a full season. Cade started with 2 games, right? So I get the pessimism, I guess you would say, that a lot of these outlets are having. But you think to number 17, Georgia quarterback Carson Beck. He's supposed to be the projected replacement of Stetson Bennett, right? Carson Beck had 310 yards passing, 71% completion, 4 touchdowns. He's ranked 17th. Oh, but it doesn't stop there in just this wild situation. It just does not stop there. Excuse me. Let's continue to go a little bit further back. Kyle McCord, Ohio State, 190 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 80% completion. Cade Klubnik, like I said, does not have the most stats, but 697 passing yards, 61% completion, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, right? But there's no way that you're going to tell me 2 guys who have not played or started games or have enough snaps or have as many snaps as Cade Klubnik deserves to be in front of him. What are we doing here? And I'm going to read the blurb. His blurb says Klubnik replaced DJ Wingley in the ACC championship game and took the starting job for good in the Orange Bowl. That 2-game sample showed flashes of the 5-star's talent, and he'll need to improve in the intermediate and deep passing game. Talked about the fact that hiring TCU's offensive coordinator Garrett Riley, and that should help energize this Tigers program that is accustomed to elite QB play. And stuff like that. But at the same time, he also said that Texas A&M's Connor Wegman also could have fit in this exact spot, but he'll stick with Cade Klubnik for now. it's just the dish. It's just disrespectful to me at this point, guys. I mean, y'all let me know if I'm tripping, but I feel like it's disrespectful simply because there's no way you can tell me a Kyle McCord and I don't forgot the other kid's name at this point, a Carson Beck, who I know about Carson, an extremely talented kid. I think it was a 4 to 5 star recruit coming out, but there's no way that you're gonna tell me they belong. Carson Beck is at 17. Now, if you're telling me, yes, I know that they have a lot of weapons and just talent on Georgia. They're 2-time defending champions, back-to-back champs for a reason, right? They're trying to create that dynasty. So all of that, I get it. But there's no way that you're going to use that as a reason to prop up the quarterback over more talented and just guys who kind of have proven them just a little more, right? Proven a little more. And I think that's where the disrespect for me comes in. At the end of the day, yes, Cade Klubnik did not look good and look great against Tennessee. Yes, he's still getting used to a new offense, and that's going to be something that's going to play a part. But at the same time, this isn't the run-of-the-mill offense that we've seen over the past 2 years in terms of the weaponry being average at best and the offensive play calling not being great under like Tony Elliott and I forget the OC from last year's name. I'm blanking on it right now. But the point is, that's not the case, guys. So if that's not the case, give Cade Klubnik the respect he deserves, in my honest opinion. Truthfully, give him that respect. This young man has all the tools and all the physical skill set to make plays. We saw what he could do when he would come in certain spots, and taking over the ACC championship game really showed us like just kind of the high end of what this young man can provide. And I just when I saw this list, I was taken aback. I was not, like I said, there are other names that absolutely I have no problem with them being over Cade, like no problem whatsoever. But it's the simple fact of the matter is, like, how can you, guys who one guy has less than 200 yards passing. And it's like, and his blurb was standards are high at Ohio State. Given the last 3 quarterbacks, Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud were all Heisman Trophy finalists. McCord still has, excuse me, because hear me. McCord still has to win the starting job in fall camp, a battle that will continue with quarterback Devin Brown. If McCord wins, however, he will be reunited with high school teammate Marvin Harrison Jr. on what should be the nation's best offense, one of the nation's best offenses. It's a limited sample, but McCord has a 70.7 completion percent. Who cares? Who cares? You just said he still has to win the start. Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing? You tell me he still has to win the job? There is no way. You're serious right now. So, again, guys, I just had to get that off my chest. I'm calling out all disrespect, man. I'm getting it ready. We getting there. Bill Bender. You're another one hating. It's just, I don't even call it hate, but it's just disrespect. It's disrespectful to our guy, Cade Klubnik, man. So, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. But guys, listen, like I said about, man, we're gonna prove. Cade Klubnik in this office is gonna show a lot of people the growth and the talent that's on this team. And Garrett Riley's gonna coach his butt off and get this offense in a better place, a place that they have not been in quite some time offensively, and I can't wait to see it. I'm excited for it, guys. But coming up next, man, I'm gonna get into the head ball coach, Dabo Swinney, taking a trip, a much-needed break to the Safari. Well, how much was it needed? What did he miss in return of going to Safari? I'm going to talk about that coming up next. The NBA Finals are underway between the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat. And guys, make a fast break to FanDuel during these NBA playoffs and finals, because right now new customers get a no sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. I'm going to tell you what I really love about betting on FanDuel. Number one, you get great promotions every single day, guys. I promise you, you will enjoy that. All the different options and variety that will fit your needs. The app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. You can't go wrong with that. And lastly, you get paid instantly. I don't want to win $5,000 and tell me I got to wait 3 weeks. I don't want to wait 3 days. If I can win that money and play it tonight and win it, I want it immediately immediately and instantly. There's no better place to bet on all the playoff action than America's number one sports book, which is FanDuel. So, guys, just visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get the no sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/locked-on. FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Good old head ball coach Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney took an 8-day trip, guys, to the safari, man. And in his words, seeing the lions was fascinating. Coach missed the ACC spring meetings to spend time with a Clemson group on the safari in South Africa, and spending time up close with the king of the beasts. He says was a highlight. He met with the media. He talked about, just a simple fact of the matter that, he was going for 8 days. In his words, it was fascinating. His quote, obviously, I have never been on that continent. So it was a new continent, a fascinating country. It was a big kind of Clemson group. I think we had about 30 people that went, and it was actually planned in May of 2020. And so it kept getting postponed, but we were able to do it. And it was an amazing experience. He said, when they asked what stood out, right? When he was talking to the reporters, he said, lions. I mean, it was all cool. So that's when he said everything was really, really fascinating to see, and to see these lions up close, just to be in their habitat. It was one of the coolest things I've ever done. Said that they plan on the trip was planned around his spring meeting, but the conference changed the date, and Sweeney missed it for the first time, I believe, in 14 years. He said it's never good to miss those meetings, and for 14 years I was there, and it was always the same week. And they knew since last August I wasn't going to be there. It wasn't something that just happened. Then they kind of changed the week. This was something that had been planned for a long, long time. And it was honestly planned around the meetings, and then the meetings moved. But so, he handled himself, with professionalism, right? Like, he let them know a year in advance, like, hey, I'm planning on taking this trip. And I'm going to tell you guys, I feel like this was great for him. 14 years in the game at Clemson, right? With all the expectations. I remember listening to him at the ACC Media Day last year in Charlotte, which I'll be there this year as well. I plan on going if everything goes well. And I'll be able to bring you guys some content and his quotes and so forth and so on. But one thing he said was just like, he talked about just the expectations of this program. And at first and early on, fans and like media and different people wanted him fired. He talked about wanting him out of the building, right? And until he found consistency and found success and win, and won playoff games and champion in 2 titles and, with 2 different quarterbacks who are 2 of the best quarterbacks to ever touch the field for the Clemson Tigers. So just listening to Dabo, talk about it, he's always got a smile on his face, got that kind of joyous type of attitude. But I just love the fact that he took a trip for himself. A lot of times we see these coaches, man, they work so hard, guys. They work so hard. They work their butts off, going hours without being home and on a day-to-day, and not, being able to spend all the time with their family and different things of that nature. So being able to get out, detach from football a little bit. And also, what it does? It gives them some great pregame, halftime, and post-game type of quotables, right? Like, the things that he could say in the locker room to get the guys going, some speeches, right? Talking about, man, I've seen the king of the jungle, the lion, up close, and talking about how they roamed and controlled their habitat. I'm pretty sure he's got something in the works, because the type of character he is. But again, just for him, it was a much needed break, man. This man, the recruiting, everything else that he's got his hand in, and he does. Right now, the recruiting, trying to get the recruiting into the top 10 and trying to continue to improve it for 2024, as well as build upon it for 2025. That's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing beast, guys. So what I'm telling you is simple, man. I just feel like this was a much needed trip for the head ball coach, simply so he can go and detach. He can breathe. He's in the beautiful safari. He's on a different continent. He's experiencing something he's never experienced before. I gotta stop hitting my laptop here, but he's experiencing something he's never experienced before. And you can't go wrong with that. Like, and like, football is everything. But again, being able to detach, see different things, experience new things, allows you to bring it tie it all back, bring it back to football, and allow it to be enjoyment for you as a head ball coach. And now he's coming in. I would not be surprised if he's refreshed, he's re-energized, which I don't think he lacks energy even at his age right now. I don't think this man, like I said, I always talk about it, right? For the recruits to come and see him sprinting down the hill, and hitting, touching the rock. No, he doesn't lack energy, but I'm pretty sure just being able to rest and relax a little. 8 days is a long time, a long time away to be able to really think to yourself and enjoy your surroundings and whatnot, and allow him to really tap into that and then come back with a new just freshness, a new deep breath. Like, all right, it's time for some football. It's time to get ready for camp in about a month and everything and whatnot, and just really get himself. Like I said, sometimes you got to unplug, guys. You got to unplug and recharge the battery. And I don't mind Dabo doing that one bit, man, because it only makes everything he's going to do that much better, and that much more passionate, and you know that about him, and I'm excited to see for him how this helps him, how this changes his mentality and everything coming in. Like I said, just new experience, rest, relaxation, re-energize, recharge. You can never hate on it. At least I know I can't, because I'll absolutely do it in a heartbeat. But guys, listen, you want to talk about being able to recharge, get that juice back? We're going to talk about On the Prowl coming up next, the number one linebacker, and how close Clemson is projected to be in landing him, coming up next. On the Prowl, guys. And man, big news for the Clemson 2024 class. Clemson is right now the projected leader per on basically ON3 or one.com. They have Clemson projected to be the leader for the number one linebacker in the nation, right? Sammy Brown. He visited Clemson. He came in, these past, like last week. He was there from the 2nd to the 4th. And this young man, of course, walked away with an offer. 6'2", 225. He's the number 16th overall prospect and number one linebacker. He's also number 4 player in, I believe, the state of Georgia. And when you just watch this kid, man, and think about, I want you guys to understand something. Listen, via one.com, and looking at the profile and what they've said about this kid, Clemson, it has a 68.6% chance to land him. And now, listen, this is a kid in Georgia, right? He's in Georgia, and Georgia has a 10.4% chance. 10.4. That's amazing to think about, right? That they potentially have a low chance due to Clemson, and Clemson has the best chance. But of course, everything's not fully solidified. You know what I mean? But when you look at what's coming up for this young man in the next few weeks, he will get additional looks at Clemson June 9th, Oklahoma June 16th, Ohio State June 23rd. He visited Tennessee last month for an official visit. And then Brown told one.com's one of their reporters that he's going to take 2 weeks off and take a vacation with his family, and the final decision could come sometime during that time away. So he's going to take some time after all of these all of these visits to figure out what he's going to do with himself. He said it wouldn't be bad to make a beach commitment, but I see it happening sometime in that 2-week window before going back to workouts at Jefferson to prepare for my senior year. And guys, I watched the tape of this kid. He's unbelievable, man. Just a really high instinctive football player. He plays both sides of the ball, really physical. He plays running back and linebacker. But not only that, guys, like he's a do-it-all athlete. Right. And like I said, you see it on his tape. Listen to this, though. Like he's garnered national headlines for his ability to pin opponents in wrestling in less than a minute. He's a two-time state wrestling. He has two state wrestling titles. I'm sorry. He's a stellar track record and exploits in the 100 and 200 meter dash. He's got the mullet part, business in the front, party in the back. On the football field, he was voted as Georgia's 5A coaches by the coaches, right? Defensive player of the year, racking up 113 tackles as a junior. This per the coach, there's nothing this kid can't do. His dad is also a high school football coach in the state of Georgia himself. Also, so guys, I mean, when I watched him, I saw the range and sideline to sideline. You see the ball skills as and that shows up when he's dropping off in coverage, but also when he's playing the running back position, they'll run him down the field, deep down the field as a receiver, and he tracks the ball. He tracks it well, but also makes the play with over-the-shoulder grabs, full extension of the hands, and you just love it, man. You love to see those type of things, and then you watch him in coverage, and he's able to bait quarterbacks in the throws because the quarterback thinks the throwing lane is not occupied, but he's actually sitting there baiting them and waiting for the ball to be released so he can make a break on it. But then also, like I said, the sideline to sideline speed. Not only does he have the vision and the eye discipline to locate the football, but he has the speed to track it down and make a play on it as well. And you love to see those type of things from a young player. Like 113 tackles as a junior in high school is nothing to stick your nose up, into the sky at, man, or turn your head around to. Like, this is a talented football player. Sammy Brown is a guy and he's talented when you got the reigning defending champions on this coattails, right? In-state kid. And not only that, it's just a simple fact of the matter is, like, they're his primary, I think, SEC, and they have the best chance to get him out of the SEC teams. But again, one.com has Clemson as the betting favorite right now. And that would be amazing because when you think about what this could do for this would be a huge dub for Coach Sweeney. You talk about coming off of people that come off your own vacation, wait for a recruit to come off vacation and tell you, hey, Coach, I'm going to be a Tiger next year. That's a big move because right now the 2024 class, Clemson currently, they have 8 commits to the 24 class currently, and the class ranks 14th in the nation, number 2 in the ACC. So you want to get to that number 1 spot in the ACC, and you want to get inside the top 10. The highest recruit is a guy that I talked about, 4-star tight end Christian Bentaker, is the highest player ranked right now as the 84th. The top 90 player in the country. And you think about last year, they only had 1 5-star recruit, and that was the defensive stud. Shout out to my guy Peter Woods, who I talked about a couple episodes as well as a freshman phenom. I'm excited to see. They signed 26 players during the 2023 recruiting cycle. And in that class was number 11th in the country, number 2 still in the ACC. So you got to get to that number 1 spot in your own conference. But you also, you've been close to top 10 in the last 2 years. You want to get inside that top 10. And I think landing, being able to land Brown, man, and bring this young man in would be big. Sammy would be huge for this because this is how I feel. If you can land a 5-star like Sammy Brown, a young man that's viewed very highly in the recruiting atmosphere, right? If you can land him, that means you're in play for anyone else. And there's other 5-stars that they're in play with, right? On the Prowl is a daily segment. I try, whenever I record, I want to bring that to you guys and everything. But that's how I look at it right now, is that if you can land a Sammy Brown, get a hard commit, get a verbal commit, get that full commit from him, and you know that he's going to be on your roster, right? He's going to step on campus, around this time next year, he'll be there. If that is the case, man, you have to be excited about your chance to land, because then you can go to these other recruits. Like, man, we just landed a 5-star linebacker, guys. Like, he turned down Georgia for us. He turned down Oklahoma for us. He turned down Tennessee and Ohio State for us, so forth and so on. And that's going to be big. I want them to continue to see them on the prowl and attacking recruiting and chasing after these kids, because you want to continue to put yourself in a position to be the blue blood, the blue chip program in the ACC, and allow the some people would say Florida State's talented team that they have this year. They said that it's a one-time thing. It's just a blur. It's a blip on the radar. It's not a trend. And if you want to continue to be the trend, you want to continue to be the team that everyone is chasing in this conference, ACC, you got to win recruiting, and not just recruiting for these high school recruits, but hit the transfer portal, guys. Get the NIL going, and also attack the transfer portal for recruits as well, because that's what a lot of these teams are able to. Listen, end of the day, the transfer portal is college football's version of free agency. Once these kids enter the portal, it's fair game. Same way if a player is released in the NFL, and DeAndre Hopkins, one of our greats I talked about recently, he's on the free agent market. All 32 teams can talk. The Arizona Cardinals want to talk to him again and say, hey, you know what? We want to bring you back on a different tag. They can do that. He's available for all 32 teams to contact and try to work with. And that's what it is with college football and the transfer portal. Embrace it, enjoy it, but we got to start attacking that as well and bringing some of these really talented recruits from all over the country that are not seeing their value with their current teams and head into the offseason knowing I want to go somewhere else. So, continue to attack recruiting and understand that we have to get better as a program. That's the mindset Clemson has to have. But guys, as always, man, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all for tapping it with me as always, man, for making Locked On NFL, Locked On Clemson. I'm sorry, I'm so used to doing both shows. Making Locked On Clemson your first listen every single day, man. And, thank y'all for being my everydayers. Like I said, I have more coming this week. Some more recruiting on the way tomorrow. A top tier 6'6" big offensive tackle, another 5-star that's on the prowl. We're going to get into that tomorrow as well, guys. But just listen, you know what you can do. You can go to Twitter and you can find me and follow me on Twitter at DP_NFL, guys. You know to do subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it's available. Again, thank y'all for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every day and being my everydayers. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Go Tigers.